1, fight.
City of Champions presents Kings of the Crown, a boxing event that you don't want to miss. Come witness the Clash of the Titans, July 16th at the Sparta Dome, located at 1355 East North Street, Crown Point, Indiana. Fight starts at 8 p.m. Come witness greatness.
Checking in with our guest, 8MatikLogan in the building, man. How you feeling?
What's poppin', man? I feel good, chilling.
For sure. Hey, thank you for coming out, man. We appreciate you for coming out. We gonna go ahead and hop into this interview.
Man, I appreciate y'all having me.
All right, let's start with the cliche, questions. Like, why 8MatikLogan?
Okay, so initially, the idea, anybody who's familiar with me as an artist knows that I've been I've had a really unique and rocky journey. So throughout that whole process, I've always had identity issues, name change after name change after name change, from the very beginning. And so when I hit 2018, I was signed, and I was I just had changed my name twice within a year. So I was all right, I gotta come up with something that's new and that can embody this new era of me, this new phase in my life, new chapter. So I came up with 8MatikLogan, and originally the idea was just taking a number that I really like, which was inspired by Kobe and just the aesthetic of the number. And if you flip it on the side, it's the infinity sign. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to achieve eternal life theoretically through the music, through the art. Obviously you got to die at some point, but you could live on through your impact. So that's where that initially came from. And then the Matic was just I felt everything I was doing was automatic at that point. I was just getting in the studio and making records at a very high clip. And then I guess through that, I've discovered a new meaning for it, where it's now it's an attitude. Now it's more of a spirit than anything. Just, it's ever changing, as is the nature of life. And I get to wake up every day and define what 8Matik is, so that's what it means for me now.
You said you want to leave a legacy, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, when they living in that moment, they don't even think that far to be man, I want to make sure I leave something for people to look back on. And what's crazy is my homegirl, she took my son and her kids to Michael Jackson house yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
And she was they was having a whole concert and everything over there for Michael Jackson. But imagine that being you, where, you know what I'm saying, people go to your childhood house and they literally reminisce and celebrate your life, you know what I'm saying, just based off something that started with music, bro. That's crazy.
No, that's real, that's real impact. That's who I've really been diving into recently, is those legends like Prince, Mike, we just talked about Nirvana, all of these groups and solo artists as well, even the Pacs and Bigs, and even some of the artists that we've recently lost that are legendary. Because I think legacy is important, and for me, I've struggled with purpose. I've struggled with understanding what my meaning is, and I feel I've been doing a lot of spiritual work and reading a lot of really deep literature, and understanding now that a man's work is his purpose, and that can mean so many things. But for me now, like I said, it's achieving eternal life through the impact and through the legacy. And for some men, it's not necessarily a career. Some men, their legacy is their children and their grandchildren, and creating a family, coming from a broken family and creating a new, redefining it, whatever your purpose is. But I feel for me right now, my purpose is to make an impact on the world and make that shit everlasting. You know what I'm saying? Keep rocking out. And legacy is the word for me right now. That's popping out every time I do something. Every time I'm thinking, I'm all right, how is this going to be remembered? How is this going to be looked at? Am I really doing something impactful, or am I just doing something fleeting?
Round 1, fight.
City of Champions presents Kings of the Crown, a boxing event that you don't want to miss. Come witness the Clash of the Titans, July 16th at the Sparta Dome, located at 1355 East North Street, Crown Point, Indiana. Fight starts at 8 p.m. Come witness greatness.
Ill Sound Radio. We back in the building.
Yes, sir. We checking back in with 8MatikLogan in the building. Now on break, we discussed the book club that you have. So you want to talk about your book club and everything?
Yeah, so 8Matik Book Club on Instagram.
For sure.
I started it during the pandemic, during like lockdown. That's really like, I say from like 2019 to like now, it's just been a constant evolution for me, and like a process of kind of addressing my past self, stripping it, and kind of redefining who I am. And reading has been a pivotal part. You know what I'm saying? It's been so vital in that process, because like a lot of people struggled with sitting in the house for however long we had to, and like facing yourself all the time. And that's something, fortunately for me, I've always been good at. I think I actually needed that, but it helped me rediscover my love for literature. And like, you know, some of these books is like, obviously you have like the Bible and shit like that, but like there's some of these books that are hundreds of years old that hold a lot of like very valid keys to life, and like knowledge and wisdom that people just ain't reading, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, can I cuss on this, like, for real? Like,
yeah. Shit.
I'm a motherfucker that was like, I'm a high school dropout. You feel what I'm saying? So like, I didn't do shit in school, bro. Like, that's not just. And I had an 8th grade teacher, Miss Reddington, who really got me into reading for real. And that was like the only time I ever read. And then I read The Secret when I started making music, like not when I started making music, but when I started taking it serious, like 2012, 2013, I read The Secret. But other than that, I wasn't a reader. Like, I never read. And then the pandemic hit, and I'm like, I'm in a bad deal. I don't know shit about the music game. Like, I did when I first started, but I drifted so heavily. You know what I'm saying? And the industry's so fast. It moves to a new direction so quickly. So I was like, all right. And I just ordered this book by Donald Passman. I think it's called Everything You Need to Know About the Music Game or Music Business. And that book changed my life. And then I started like reading my contract and like reading all type of like music business stuff. And I'm like, all right, maybe I should really dive into other literature, because if I'm learning so much like off this one book, there's probably so many more, you know what I'm saying, pieces that I could really dive into. And now I got like a big ass book collection. Like, I plan on having like a little library in the crib one day type shit. I'm reading like, at first I was reading like 4 or 5 books a month, but I kind of dialed back on that because that was a little bit too much. And at the time I didn't have no recording equipment. We was just in the crib, so I couldn't make music. I was just reading like all day, reading. But now that like I have, you know, all these other things that I have to put my time toward again, like, you know, not have to, that I get to, you know what I'm saying, and that I love to do, like making music and shit like that. Reading is I've had to like read like 1 book a month, 2 books a month instead, but it's still, you know, a very essential part of my life.
Absolutely.
How would you say reading more opened your eyes to the world, you feel me, and what was going on personally in your life?
I think as a creative thinker, you're always capable of drawing correlations between other people's stories, or like stories in general. Stories is how lessons and morals and stuff has been passed along through the eons, you know what I'm saying, from the very first people. I mean, the Bible is essentially just a book of stories, and you know, there's fables and like all types of different like meanings and ways to interpret stories. So damn, I just lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
How did reading more open your eyes to the world and basically what was going on, you feel me? Because you say you was battling with finding different identities within yourself. So how did reading help you find yourself?
Yeah, like mostly spiritual and like psychology books have really helped me discover that. I don't know, like when you reading biographies or like nonfiction books, I mean, I guess even fiction books, you just draw these correlations and it's way more enlightening. Like, obviously you can learn through all types of different avenues, but for me, it's been literature that has done the most for me. especially as I've gotten more mental clarity and kind of put down like all the frivolous shit and got away from like living at the surface and kind of diving deeper into who I am and my being and shit like that. So it's really allowed me to, books is like the only time where you could actually travel the world while you're in this and while you're in one little spot. You could actually go to these other places and go to these different time periods and shit like that. So like that's really huge, and I just think it's important to read. It don't even matter what you're reading, just read. I know a lot of people read novels, and I love novels too, but I really haven't been like the most avid novel reader. I'm really into like I said, spirituality and like psychology books and like nonfiction, autobiography, stuff like that.
For sure. Now, what's name like one book of each genre you just named: spirituality, psychology, and nonfiction that you would recommend like for starts.
Let me look up my book club really quick. I know for like Think and Grow Rich, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Outwitting the Devil. What else could I think of right now? The Power of the Subconscious Mind. I'm reading this Jordan Peterson book right now, 12 Rules for Life, which is such a great book. A little controversial. A lot of people don't really like him like that. 48 Laws of Power is good. I don't really look at it like, I don't see it as like religion. Like I'm not finna follow this shit religiously, but I think it's important to study the other like alternative perspectives, and other ways that people approach it. Like even with me, like I read a lot of, I've just started reading political books, but like even if I don't agree with an ideology, I'm still gonna read up on it because I wanna understand how these people think. And so I could really understand, because you can't really oppose something if you're ignorant to it.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
I've really stepped back from like being vocal about shit and kind of just diving into doing research about it. Cause I'm in my 20s, bro.
Right.
This shit been happening. The world been going on for a long time. So I had to really look at myself like, bro, you're ignorant. Like you don't know shit for real. You need to go read and like study and learn.
Absolutely.
So like, that's really what I've been on too. Yeah, I said 7 Habits of Highly Effective People already. Think and Grow Rich. No Excuses is a good one. A couple books that really helped me: Power of Habit, Atomic Habits. Psychology of Money is a dope one. Yeah, there's a lot. I can't really think of, but that's a cool little list right there.
Mostly with books too, a lot of people just need that point in the right direction. And they need to hear that somebody is out there reading these books, because sometimes you just drop a book like here.
And we from like, when you grow up in the trenches, bro, when you grow up in the hood, you get looked at as a goofy or like a lame for trying to better yourself or be smart. Like, and I had to really get comfortable with that. Like, I fuck all that smoking and drinking and like all of that shit. That's cool for some people. If that's how you want to live your life, that's cool. But that wasn't doing nothing for me. And I didn't feel like I could be a valuable asset to the world in that mindset. I had to really strip myself and like really do the work. And like I want to tell the kids, like, that shit is cool. Reading is cool. Studying is cool. Being intelligent is cool. Being ignorant is not cool. Like, that shit is whack, bro. And we need to like really address that shit.
Facts. I think, social media is a double-edged sword, but I feel like now we see more I would say bright individuals showcase it on social media, to the point where kids, they want to start YouTube channels and they don't want it to be just the norm, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like we got so many young entrepreneurs now in the world, and I accredit that to social media opening people's eyes to the world of what's going on. Because like you say, when we was in high school, bro, I can't say in my school it was like really the cool kids, the lame kids, like everybody kind of meshed in that special type of way. But it was definitely frowned upon to be the smart kid because you was definitely lame. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, even anime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you watch anime in high school, you was automatically weird, bro. Not everybody is, you know, jumping towards the anime culture.
Sure.
So I think that's dope that you like, man, I gotta push this to the forefront. I gotta push this to the forefront. And I know my daughter, she on summer vacation.
Yeah.
So when she with me, I'm like, when you come out with me, you gonna work. You ain't gotta do no physical work, but you gonna read this book. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Every time you in this truck with me, you gotta read this book. At the end of the day, I'm gonna pay you $10 every day you with me. You know what I'm saying? And that's her only job is to read a book, bro.
That's fire.
You feel me?
And I think too, like, to touch on that, to kind of piggyback on what you talking about, like, a lot of us come from broken homes and broken families, and a lot of that is founded in ignorance and just very low vibrational, like calibrating at such low frequencies on a spiritual level and not understanding that we're capable of so much more. And I think if you really want to start breaking, you know, generational curses, which is, I don't believe in generational curses. I believe in generational patterns maybe and tendencies, but I don't believe anybody's cursed. If you want to start breaking that, you can't do that if you're ignorant. Mm-hmm. So you have to get knowledgeable. You have to understand why these successful families are successful, why these people are raising good kids, and why our kids are like not, you know what I'm saying? And then we have to instill those same principles and values into them and value them things that really can elevate your mind and your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, having your daughter read is special. Like, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up without a dad, so it's like I learned a lot of my life. All of my life lessons came from experience. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really grateful. Like, I post all the time, like, when I found God, or whatever your God is for you, whatever. When I found my God and my you know, omnipotent force or whatever, that really changed my life, because it allowed me to look at things from that light and be like, okay, I'm just grateful that I'm alive, because I had to learn a lot of shit the hard way, and it could have went left so many times.
Facts.
But when you got a good role model, a good leader in your house, or a good leader in your family that's letting you, kind of guiding you, you don't have to really learn the hard way. Because like we live in Chicago, bro, a lot of kids don't get to learn the hard way. It's just the hard way and they gone. You
Absolutely.
know, they dead or they in jail or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think, I really think that we just need to emphasize intellect and growth more than anything these days, especially with the internet, because it could be used, it's like a tool, bro. It's like it could be used for good or it could be used for bad. And a lot of the times, I'd say mostly it's corrupting people's minds than it's being used for a constructive measure, you know?
Absolutely. And it's just the internet is just a force, bro. Like, to be honest, I remember one time I had this tweet, bro. I had to take it down due to other reasons, but I said something like, the internet is just a mockery of what's already in your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a force, bro. It's only two ways to do things, and once you look at life like that is two ways to do things, for the good way, the bad way, the right way, the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So that's really how we just simplify everything and look at it, because people can see bad things on the internet and think it's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing. You know, like, influence. That's all we carry in this world, bro. It's just influence. And like you say, and like all the change and everything you speak and the personal matters that you do to improve yourself, bro, that's all we after as human beings. Your good influence or your bad influence, however you want to take it. That's how life simplified.
No, for sure. And what's crazy too is I'm reading this book by Jordan Peterson. He's like, I'm in the chapter where he's talking about morality, and a lot of the spiritual books that I've read, or like spiritual literature, you know, says that everything just is. Like, life just is. You know what I'm saying? As human beings, we take our subjective interpretation of things and determine what's good or what's bad.
Right.
Like, a person could kill somebody, and in their mind, they did the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's subjectively the wrong thing, there is no objective good or bad. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand morality, and we have to build on that and allow people to understand that obviously everything just is, but this is probably a better route than that one. You know what I'm saying?
So,
Round one, fight.
City of Champions presents Kings of the Crown, a boxing event that you don't want to miss. Come witness the Clash of the Titans, July 16th at the Sparta Dome, located at 1355 East North Street, Crown Point, Indiana. Fight starts at 8 p.m. Come witness greatness.
Yo Sound Radio, we back in the building.
Yes, sir. And we checking back in with our guest, 8MatikLogan. Now we got the upcoming album 1636, correct? The second chapter.
The second chapter, right? Yeah.
For sure, man. So like we were saying off air, bro, like if you scale out the next 10 years, bro, and we talked about everything today, like legend, mortality, all that, bro. If you just schedule out all the 10 years, bro, and everything that's changed in this scene, bro, then you just go to your album, bro. It's like, man, that's the word I'm looking for, man, is like triumphant. You know what I'm saying? Like overcoming so much and being able to adapt. Now you got a new sound. You got your newfound momentum. So like, talk about everything that goes into the process of creating this album and what can listeners expect.
So I started making the album like maybe like 2020. I think I got 1 or 2 records from 2020, end of 2020. For me, 1636, the second chapter, picks up where I left off with the first 1636. And it is literally the sequel to that. And the content of it is what has gone on in my life since then. You know, the theme is pretty much the same. It's about my life. And I think, you know, this one is special to me because the first one meant so much. And I think that everything in between served its purpose for me to put me where I'm at now. And with the first one, I was 19 when I made basically the whole project.
Right.
And so I have a traumatic adolescence, traumatic childhood. And so I never felt like I had a real childhood, like at least in the one that I would have liked. And so I was 19 making this really deep music, making like this real substantial music. And it got to a point where I just wanted to be a kid. You know, I felt immense pressure and responsibility that came with that type of music. Talking about like the beautiful, ugly world with Saba. Most of the original 1636 record was about family and trauma and, you know, overcoming a lot of that stuff and talking about the climate of the world. And so with this one, I just wanted to really tell people, like give them an inside look of what I've been going through since then. But like, to be honest with you, I don't cover everything because I would need a whole book to cover that.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? But I do touch on some heavy topics, and I do kind of, that's why it's 20 songs. It's longer, the longest project I've ever put out, but it really could have been like 100 if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, I just really wanted to touch base on that core essence that really got me started. Because like I said, when I was 19, it was really overwhelming for me. And I didn't want to be the voice for you know, consciousness, or even though I was on that at the time. But like I said, having such a traumatic childhood, I never felt like I had a true moment to be a kid. And so I was 19 making this deep ass music, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to do that. I don't want the responsibility that comes with that. I want to be a kid. I want to be able to go make mistakes. So I got into drugs and drinking and partying and sex and like smoking heavy and like doing all of this frivolous, fleeting stuff to just drift and escape. And I believe that also served its purpose. But when you're a kid, you don't know how deep you're drifting. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. I mean, you got to look at a lot of the kids that we've lost that are legendary, like Juice, like Lil Peep. You know what I'm saying? Like even Mac Miller. And then obviously the ones that came before my generation. But it's like, you might start off thinking you just finna have some fun, and then shit go left real quick. And so, like I said earlier, I'm just blessed to be here. I'm grateful, and I felt like it was necessary for me to tap back into that and give people the second chapter to my life and through music, you know. So this is the sequel to the first one, and like I said, it's the same theme. It's about my life and just touching on what has been going on.
Absolutely.
Is it difficult to be honest through your music and it's vulnerable?
It is. It's difficult to share it with the world because we live in such a judgmental world where people are quick to assume they know you based off of the little bit the little glimpse that you allow them to see. And like any human being, there's layers to you, man. It's not so one, you know, it's not a one-way street. You can't just look at me and think you can define me like that. And I was telling somebody this the other day, like, everything that I've been through has shaped me and molded me, but it doesn't get to define me. Right. It's not who I am. It's just something that happened to me along the way, along the journey. So I've learned to embrace the journey, and the word that really stands out to me is responsibility. And at this age, I'm now more equipped to handle the responsibility of trying to lead with love and lead with light. Mm-hmm. And I've done all the other shit already, so I don't really need to engage and indulge in that shit no more. I know where that gets you. The morgue, jail, the hospital, you know what I'm saying? Like, it don't get you nowhere good. You might have a little moment where you like, I'm on top of the world. But just like a high off of drugs, you got to crash at some point. Mm-hmm. And so I just had to learn all of that. Like I said, I had no real guidance, so I had to learn it through experience. And I mean, it is what it is, you know. Like I said, I think it served its purpose and it's put me in a position to really embrace this new level, this new phase, and I'm excited for it. I'm grateful to be here, and I think I'm more equipped now than ever to really embrace that shit. And to touch on your question about the vulnerability aspect, anytime you share your art with the world, there's a bunch of people that's gonna like it. There's a bunch of people that's gonna hate it. It's not about them though. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you can help people. Hopefully you can move people and it resonates and it connects with people. But specifically for this album, for me, it was for me. No offense to anybody that, you know what I'm saying, is invested in my career, but this one was for me. I don't give a fuck about what anybody thinks about it, what anybody got to say. It don't matter to me because I produced it, I mixed it, I wrote it, I did it all. And that was to show myself that I could. Mm-hmm. To show myself that I could pull myself out of these dark places that I was at. So I don't really care about what nobody think about it, but you do gotta hear it and you do gotta sit with it because people gonna say it whether you like it or not.
Absolutely.
All right, I gotta ask my favorite question to you, bro. If you can go back and give your younger self any advice, what would it be?
Read, study the game. Because I think, you know, as human beings, we're naturally sometimes impulsive. So I probably would have dabbled into all this shit that I eventually got into anyway, just because for the most part that I felt like that was in my nature at the time. But I think I could have approached it differently and handled it differently and kind of nipped it in the bud early if I was more educated and more equipped to handle that kind of stuff. So I would have told myself to read and study, not just the business side, but the world. So that would be my advice.
Sure.
All right, before we get out of here, tell the people how they can get in tune with you, stay in tune with you. Then I want you to intro us to your new single.
So Instagram, YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, pretty much everything but Twitter is 8MatikLogan. And then my Twitter is LoganCage8. And the new single is called Fahey Building. It's actually the first record on my project. It's a very vulnerable record, very expressive record, very deep, substantial music. And like I said, I don't care if you like it, but I hope you like it. And I know that it's only been out a couple days, but I know that it's been helping people. So that's really what matters the most to me.
All right, Jimmy, talk to the people real quick.
Yes, sir. Hey, shout out to, I guess, 8MatikLogan for coming through the building, man. 1636, a new chapter, a second chapter, right? My bad.
Second chapter.
Second chapter coming soon, man. Tuesday. Make sure y'all go download that. I'm going to be on the lookout for it myself. Hey, shout out to you, bro, man. Like, you got a story, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know you say if you want to tell everything you can write a book. But I would say it would be cool if we do actually get a 1636 book. That'll be pretty dope. Have
I'm
you given
thinking
any
about
thought?
it. So I got a book called Xanax Betrayal. It's
Uh-huh.
coming out. I'm thinking about publishing it this year. It's already done. I
For
just
sure.
have to edit it and format it. I've been editing it like 3 times already.
Mhm.
But a whole overall life, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I think that it will come down the line. I'm still in my 20s, so there's
Right.
still a lot to unfold.
Absolutely.
But I think that's very, possible down the pipeline. For
Yeah,
sure.
that'll be pretty cool, man. Hey, make sure y'all get in tune with everything he got going on, man. Be on the lookout for the album, visuals, all that good stuff.
I appreciate y'all having me too.
No
No
problem,
doubt,
man.
no
We
doubt.
appreciate you for coming through for sure. And hey, make sure y'all follow Ill Sound Radio, ILLSOUND Radio, only on iLLANOiZE Radio. Make sure y'all follow the brand. Go ahead, download that app, stream music 24/7. So go ahead and submit music. And Jay, what you got to say to him?
Man, I appreciate you for sliding through. It's definitely been a long time coming. You feel me? I feel like a lot of artists don't get to make it to the point that you've made. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
To get signed, then to learn from that, and then to be fully independent and in a position where your destiny is fully in your hands. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of artists need to go back and look at your past interviews with iLLANOiZE Radio. You feel me?
Yeah.
Because it was a lot that we didn't get a chance to cover, and like you say, you still in your 20s, bro. Like, you've accomplished so much in so little time, and it's only up from here as long as you know that.
Yeah.
And from this interview, I can tell you fully aware of where you want to be in life, And once again, for a 20-something-year-old, bro, that's special. Because a lot of us don't get a opportunity to look back on life until it's a little bit too late. You know what I'm saying? We can't change all the things that we wanted to change. So salute to you. You feel me? Once again, give everybody one book, and then we gonna get into your new single.
I appreciate everything you just said, brother. Like, that shit means a lot to me. And I would say go read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.